Let's do this thing.
Hey, here we are sitting today on the roof of
Sky House Houston.
So every day I get invited to sit with a Silver Star Marine on the roof of a Houston high-rise. So here it is. I'm sitting here today with Sergeant Phillip McCulloch.
What's up, guys?
What's going on, my brother? I appreciate the invite, and I really appreciate Kelly Fromm of Military Badassery for hooking us up today.
Kelly's a good guy. You know, he's a little shorter than I expected when I first met him, but he's got a big heart. He's actually a phenomenal individual.
That's exactly my experience too. So my hookup with Kelly was a recruiter called me to go to work for him.
Okay.
And he was stand up enough to not hire me, in that he had a parent company that was going to pay my salary, and they never came through with the money. So we put it off, and he was forthright, and we've stayed in contact more or less ever since. And I called him the other day, and he goes, "You got to go sit down with Sgt Mac."
Yeah,
so,
I mean, like we talked like 2 days ago, and you're here.
Yeah,
you know, that's pretty cool. So I appreciate that.
Fun stuff.
Yeah.
So we're recording. We're all good there. So here, I'm gonna ask you a couple of leading questions.
Ask away.
And I know you've done it a million times, so
yeah.
I kind of let you flow. I've sat with a couple of World War II guys, and they kind of have their story down pat.
I'm a boot to them. Trust me.
So what I won't do is totally interrupt your flow. So I read a little bit on the plane on the way out. And again, it was 2 days ago that we just started talking.
None of that is true. None of it is true, I promise.
Well, I don't know if I believe that or not. But so I read a little bit about your youth and that your dad was a Marine.
He was, you know.
So was he a Marine? Was he active while you were a young man?
Or? No. Actually, he was out way before I even joined. But to be honest with you, that's not even the reason I joined.
Okay, I just saw
everybody
a newspaper thing or an internet thing that said
everybody thinks because my father was a Marine that's why I joined. It's actually my grandfather. My mother's dad was a Navy corpsman in World War II.
Oh, okay.
And he was of Kelly's stature, short. He was like 5'2", 5'3".
All right.
And he was just a badass, man. He's just a little old man from the Northeast, like didn't take no shit, but he was also just a nice dude. And
right.
He I don't know, like he was very mysterious to me growing up. And I spent most of my childhood with them. My parents worked a lot and whatever, and you know, so the guys are looking at me like, "Hey, we're gonna go get some food because I'm fat and I'm hungry."
Oh, please give us skinny guys something too.
I'm not skinny. I'm hungry as hell.
So it's funny you say Navy corpsman though. Let me interrupt. So 4 weeks ago, I interviewed World War II guy, Navy corpsman, who was with the Marine Raiders.
Fuck yeah.
And they didn't know where they were going. Tokyo Rose told them when they were on the ship on the way over, going across the Pacific, Tokyo Rose said, "Here's where you're going, guys, and you're going to get your ass kicked because we're ready for you." And then the next day, their commander goes, yeah, she was right. This is where we're going. And guys, 1, maybe 3 days tops, we're going to lay a barrage on that island. It's done. It's called the Battle of Peleliu.
Peleliu, yeah.
Okay, so you know.
5th Marines guy, 1st Mardiv. I know all about Peleliu.
Yeah.
So it wasn't no 3-day battle.
So he was a Navy corpsman, and he actually, it's funny, they got hit with such a barrage on their way to the beach that he went over the side because they had stalled their transport, and he just went for the nearest beach. 5 years ago, he discovered he was the first man on the beach.
Oh, that's freaking awesome. Yeah.
And the Lions had called him and said, "Are you a hero?" And he goes, "No, I'm not a hero. What are you talking about?" So go look up Walter, but he goes, "No."
Send me his info when you get done with this, man.
Someone said that you were the first man on the beach. He goes, "I don't know. Who said that?" And they said his name. He goes, "Yeah, he was there." And then they start talking, and he goes, "Well, I just went straight for the beach." Or they're saying, "Yeah, you landed on first. You were supposed to be on third." And he goes, "Well, I thought everybody was ahead of me, so I'm not. I'm an accidental hero."
Yeah. That's pretty amazing. But so my grandfather was he was a Navy corpsman. Went to Iwo Jima. He had one tattoo, right? He always told me never getting tattoos,
right?
And it looked like a little crack-headed crow. But
I see you listen to him.
It was right. It was an eagle, globe, and anchor. And you couldn't really tell. It's just so shriveled up and old.
Right.
And I mean, I would hang out with this guy every day when I got out of school. and I didn't think what we were doing was wrong, but he'd always bring some Chavez Regal and pipe tobacco out there, and I'm like, whatever. It's my grandfather. I come pop a sack of have it.
Okay.
I'd sit there and join a glass with them and a whole bowl from the pipe tobacco
There you
every
go.
day.
I used
Sometime
to
with 11
pack my dad's pipe every day for him.
11 to 17 years old, and wonder why I love to drink so much, I guess, you know. But no, he was just a really cool dude, and he started opening up to me later years in his life about, you know, his military experience and his childhood, which was crazy. And just like I would just admired his perseverance, you know.
Yep.
And then I went through stuff as a child that, you know, I didn't get along with my family. I still don't, you know. And there's nothing wrong with that. I don't care to. I mean, I
Right.
choose my family. It's amazing, right?
There you
and but this guy was just so influential to me, right?
Right.
And I just told myself when I was sleeping in the back of my car at 17, I said, you know, what would he do in this situation? And I said, you know what, the war's going on. And when 9/11 happened, I really wanted to join, but obviously I was a few years too young. I was about 4 years too young.
Okay.
So, you know, those 4 years, just did what all guys do and fuck off in high school and everything. But
Sure.
it became time. I was like, you know, I'm 17. I'm gonna finish early, and I'm gonna graduate, and I'm gonna go to the Marine Corps. And I did, you know, and you know, maybe I knew more about the Marine Corps because of my father, but like, I mean, definitely the reason I joined service was my grandfather. He's the coolest dude I've ever met in my life.
Okay.
I mean, he's a warrior for sure. I mean, I looked him up. He's a warrior, you know.
Nice.
And it's like that legacy is what I want to contribute to.
And, you know, it's funny. I, as a slightly older man than you,
Much older. for
yeah,
those of you that don't
there you
know.
go. Much better looking. I just met the guy. But, you know, you got those voices in your head. Like, I've got friends, I got family that I always refer back to, and I go, what would that guy do in this situation? Kind of like
Absolutely.
when I got a hair floating on my thing here. But, yeah, so the reason I am doing this, I kind of told you the thumbnail sketch is I took care of my dad for a number of years, and I know I repeat this on every podcast, guys. Bear with me because this is the first time we've met. And it's important to me that he understand this, is that I took care of my dad for 5 years and with the VA and regular hospitals, and not only his stories, which only came out in the last few years, but I ended up sitting down next to a World War II pilot, or actually he was a navigator, and I was sitting waiting for my dad, and he told me a story about, well, I was a navigator, and then I sat in a bubble underneath with the machine gun, and then I flew a little bit. And I go, how do you fly a little bit?
Yeah, right?
Yeah. And then he told me the story of the first officer was hit, meaning obliterated, and then the captain got hit as well, and his captain buddy had showed him how to fly a little bit from time to time. So he goes, get up here. And he goes, before I pass out, you need to go to this heading and fly for 3 hours and try to wake me up when we get close. That guy flew
Jesus.
a bomber. You know, you've been on those.
Yeah.
They're pieces of shit. They're not.
Yeah, no.
They're flying hunks. So he flew that back, and I'm just sitting there in the hospital with this guy, Hawaiian. He's in a Hawaiian shirt, shorts, flip flops, and a World War II hat, and I'm like, oh, we got to talk. Yeah, it's got a big bump on it.
Yeah, we're going to talk, definitely.
And then another guy sitting there that drove the shuttle for my dad at the hospital, drove the golf cart to get us to the parking lot. He's like, well, I was in the Marine Corps, and I was going to the front line. I had appendicitis and basic, and I ended up typing for 2 months while I recovered, and they gave me an aptitude test and said, you're not going to the front line. You're going. We're going to make you. He ended up being a Marine aviator, navigator, and flew all over the world.
That's freaking awesome.
And retired. So those little stories that would otherwise be lost were important to me. And here's the real story: is my dad didn't tell us till 10 years before he passed. He goes, "Bad teeth saved my life." And I'm like, "What the hell are you talking about?" And he goes, "Well, in basic training, I had some bad teeth. They had to pull them, so I had to stay a few weeks. They sent all my guys off." And when they were out there, they got hit, sunk, and everybody died. And I'm like,
Jesus.
Just matter of fact, he just told me that. So, you know, I'm sitting there thinking Survivors Guild. I'm thinking everything, and no wonder those guys, you know, I was thinking about this on the plane ride out. Those guys in those days, you know, it was 3 martinis, try not to beat your wife, and, you know, shut up and go to work. Now we're getting to the point where I think we're doing a little bit better job, but we're still not there where we try to do a little out-service to our servicemen. I'm guessing, because it's not me.
The VA sucks.
Well,
I hope they're watching this. Y'all suck.
Yeah. Well, and I can tell you, once we got to the doctor or the nurse or the specialist we were supposed to see, we got great service. But getting to them was virtually impossible.
I mean, even the physicians, I'm not saying they're bad physicians by any means, but the resources that they have and their ability to, how do I say this, their ability to even do what they want to do and what's right is so limited, and because their hands are so freaking tied.
Agreed.
It's a joke. You know,
it's the bureaucracy of the deal. And we're in Phoenix, so we had to deal with them, and you've heard about them all over the news. You going live with us?
Yeah.
Cool.
I'm live on Instagram.
I like it. You know,
so yeah, Phoenix is a mess.
Phoenix was a mess and still is, and they've got the new service out there. We were lucky enough. I got my dad declared. We filled out the paperwork and got him declared homebound, so we could put in advance and get a private doctor nearby him because it was a hardship. I knew all the right words. It was a hardship for him to travel to the VA.
Got it.
He couldn't do that, so that worked out a little better for us, but it was not an easy road by any means. So, all right, that is kind of why I do it. I didn't serve. All my friends did. And then I ended up, all ironies, I ended up selling to the military communications equipment for 20 years. And
the government buys a lot of shit, man.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. So, all right, so you joined up, and, you know, I read articles, Prodigy.
Yeah, no, I took it serious. It's like anything else in life. You get what you put into it. I mean, like it's how I handle everything in my life. Hopefully, you know, it continues to bring me success. I work hard, really hard, and there's a lot of sacrifices when you work hard, right?
Absolutely.
And there's sacrifices in every career path when you work hard. It doesn't matter, you know, if they're sacrifices in your home life, there's sacrifices in your business life, financially, mentally, emotionally. There's going to be sacrifices. So, yeah, I took it really serious, you know, and my generation doesn't take shit serious, you know.
Good point.
They don't. And so when I joined, you know, in my mind, it was easy to excel above your peers when they don't give a shit. They're more worried about whining about how somebody treated them. Well, I didn't join the Marine Corps to be treated nicely.
Right.
You know, I wanted to be around a bunch of men and build some camaraderie. So to worry about the way you're being treated was a big thing. And like the hazing epidemics, that was about 2 years after I joined. Let the hazing happen. Mental toughness is what you need in combat. You know, I don't care how physically tough you are. I've watched studs bitch up. I've watched studs just not want to do it anymore. It is what it is, you know.
And you were one of the few, I would say, that wanted to be there.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
There's a lot of guys that go.
I have no choice in life, and this is what I did.
The judge said, you know, either join the military or I'm going to give you 90 days. And
yeah, I mean, there's some guys. That's not too
know,
many. I think the biggest thing is people just are scared to go and tackle life. Now,
that's a good point.
I definitely leverage things that I've learned, you know, and the experiences and whatnot to help me. So it did help me in the long run. But at the time, yeah, it was tough, man.
And we're getting there. We're getting there to Sgt Mac's Gun Shack.
Oh yeah, we'll get
so
there.
So everybody, stay tuned for that because that's a big time success story there as well. So you hit Marines. You're a private first class.
I was a private actually for a long time.
Butt.
Yeah, just a private, you know. And I was a fatter kid. Wasn't in shape. Just it was a struggle the entire way, but it was worth it. You know what I mean? Like I earned it. I legitimately earned it. It was not an easy passage for me. And my first unit, I remember our battalion commander. He's now the base general of 29 Palms. Comes out and he's like, whole unit. He's like, hey guys, we're deploying in 90 days. And we're supposed to deploy for 30 days. We're supposed to deploy for like 120. And we're like, oh, shit. So came back out a week later and was like, nope, we're pushed back to 90 days now, which is still accelerated. There's a lot of logistics that go into it.
Sure.
So I'm thinking like, damn, what did I get myself into, you know? I went to Ramadi. It was not a bad deployment. I learned a lot. Had a good time, you know. Came back, got promoted, went to some high-speed schools, learned a lot. Kind of honed in on my warfighting tactics and who I was as a Marine and the path I was willing to go on. Had some amazing leadership and you know, met with my mentor and best friend in life at the time. Well, he still was. He passed away last year, but
sorry to hear that.
It's all part of life, man.
Yep.
But you know, so I grew as a man, as a Marine. Went to Haditha.
What is that?
Haditha, Iraq. It was both Iraq.
Yes.
So
Okay.
that was a good time. I got to work with some special units. That was really cool. It showed me the other side of war, not just the basic infantry stuff. Taught me a lot. You know, I really think that was influential to the development of myself as a tacticianer. You know.
Okay.
And people always think being a grunt is, dumbest guy. Let me tell you, it is probably the hardest job to be successful at in the military. The absolute hardest. There's so many different things you have to be an expert at.
Yep.
Combined arms on the battlefield. You're not talking about just maneuvering your ground element. You're supporting agencies that are on the ground. Then you start talking about indirect fire, okay? This indirect fire that you control. Then you start talking about naval gunfire, close air support, rotary wing, fixed wing, ISR. You're talking about the imagery, and you're communicating all of this. It's so much going on.
And being able to communicate.
The math, everything that goes into it. I mean, it's insane, while under a high-stress situation, getting run around, getting shot at.
Right.
So, you have to be good at it if you want to live. So, I just focused on it and embraced myself and dove headfirst in. After that, it kind of gave me some motivation, and I was like, Iraq was turning down. So I was like, screw it, I'm going to get out of the Marine Corps.
Okay.
An officer came up to me in a bar, Chief Warrant Officer, CW 3 or 4, Robert Hudd. He's in the Army. He's like, man, you'd be a great candidate for our program. We would take E5s and make them helicopter pilots. I was like, fuck, dude, they're going to let me fly a helicopter. They're idiots, to be honest with you. So I thought about it, and I was like, maybe I'll think about it. And then I spoke to one of my officers that I trusted, and he's like, dude, become a Marine Corps officer. Do the MESEP program. It's where they pay you to go to school. You're still in service. Then you come back out into the fleet. And I thought about it, and I was like, I can't be no officer. I'm too rough around the edges. I'm going to smack somebody one day, and it's going to be the end of my career. Enlisted, you smack somebody, you're all right.
So you had no inclination of doing 20 and out. You were.
So,
all right.
So then my buddy, best friend, was in another unit. He goes, hey, man, you need to go 3-5. They're about to get in some shit in Afghanistan. And my unit was slated to go on a MEU, which is a boat ride, and I didn't want to do it. So I decided about 2 weeks after that, I said, screw it, I'm in. So they sent me over to 3rd Battalion, 5th Marines, and I was a machine gun section leader at first. Then I was platoon sergeant. Then I went back to the line platoons. I was a squad leader. And the unit was different. They're great guys, don't get me wrong, but they came off a MEU. Not much experience in the unit at the time.
Okay.
And the Camp Pendleton and 29 Palms mentalities were different. We were a little more hands-on, aggressive in 29 Palms. All we do is train. Camp Pendleton's right next to the water. I mean, I definitely relaxed more when I got out there. It is what it is. It's a good thing, I think.
Yep.
And so I was very aggressive, and I decided that I was going to keep that mentality. I wasn't going to compromise who I was. So I had a platoon sergeant and a platoon commander that I butted heads with. They're great guys. We're friends to this day.
Okay.
But they're both new. Well, the lieutenant was new, and the platoon commander was just his units he had been in happened to never see combat, or anything like that. And so we butted heads, and I told them to fuck off multiple times. It got disrespectful to a point, so they moved me out of the platoon.
That's usually a career move.
Yeah, and so I went to another platoon, and actually got hurt. And we went to Afghanistan. We went to Sing, and I got hit with a rocket in a vehicle. And
so you were in a vehicle, got hit by a rocket.
Yep, I was the convoy commander for the vehicle or for the section, and got hit. And so I went to Camp Bastion. It's a British hospital. They medevaced me, whatever, there, and they were wanting to send me home. I didn't want to go home.
Were you knocked out?
Unconscious.
Okay.
I woke back up. Obviously, I took shrapnel to the back of the head, shoulder, arm. All that
You
stuff.
still carrying any?
Yeah, a little. It's not nothing bothers me.
Okay.
And it's more debris. So I was there, and they're like wanting to send me home, and I was like, "Fuck that! I don't want to go home. Like I'm hearing people getting hurt. My best friend and another really close friend of mine just got hurt." And I'm like, what the hell, Like,
sure.
I got to get back out there. So my cousin is very high up in the Navy. Actually, my second cousin. And I called Dan on Facebook and was like, I don't know who you know, but, like, this medical officer better not send me home to America. And so they kept giving me a couple more chances to pass the
physical?
The MACE exam. It's for brain injuries.
Okay.
Golly, I've never thought a computer would kick my ass, Like, when you're jacked up, you don't realize it, right?
So they give you a computer...
Oh, you have to do it all the time. Cognitive
yeah.
therapy type thing, yeah.
Wow, okay.
And or assessment, I should say. So I finally passed, and I go back out. I still got some stitches in my back, so the company commander was like, hey, you can't go out for 2 weeks. And I was like, grr, So we cut it down to a week, and I ran the mobile assault platoon, a section of it, for a clearing of a village. And... it was a good time,
So wait a minute. Let's back up a second. You're itching to get back.
Yeah.
Do you think it's the adrenaline? Do you think it's
No,
the brotherhood? Do
I
you
wanted
think
to
it's
make sure that I was,
you're young and you
I had
need to?
experience I felt like they didn't have and abilities, and I wanted to make sure that they had every tool and opportunity.
So in your heart, you're
they
sitting there
could
going,
use. Yeah.
you're truly going, I can help.
Yeah, no, yeah, definitely. Like I need to be out there so I could help. So I get back out there, and we do this one operation. Guys got hurt. Unfortunately, we ran a medevac. It went well, but I mean, anytime somebody loses their legs, it's not a good thing.
No.
Good dude too. One of the platoon commanders was an infantryman before he was enlisted. Respect the hell out of the guy. Became an officer just to stay in the fight. He approached me afterwards, like, Mac, if I can get them to let you back to a line platoon, will you come to my platoon? And I was like, yes, if you let me do me. You know what I mean? He's like, absolutely.
Right.
He's like, break glass in case of war. Let's get it on. Let's slay some bad guys.
So you found a kindred soul.
Oh yeah. So he went to the company commander. The company commander was like, do you want that guy? Are you sure he's fucking wild? And he was like, absolutely. My first day out there, we were talking and everything. He's like, look, man, I'm not gonna step on your toes, but you need to just kind of communicate with me. I was like, got it. I don't mind communicating. Doesn't mean I'm going to listen when you say something back, but I don't mind communicating. And so he was going out with me for the first 2 weeks everywhere. But he never once stepped on my toes, man. Never once. I give him mad props to that, because there was a line there, I crossed it, definitely on purpose, to set the precedence for my guys, so they understood that...
Well, a good leader. I mean, good leader knows his talent and how to use them.
The problem was that the guys were kind of shell-shocked. They're kind of just beat up. Lost a bunch of guys, especially the squad I took over, had the most casualties, I think, in the whole unit. So they needed somebody that knew they had their back and they didn't give a fuck, So ROEs are something that people in offices make. You know what I mean? I don't care. Like, if I'm out there and I'm protecting my Marines, I'm going to do whatever it takes to bring them home alive.
Well, absolutely. And I think there's a perception out there that our military today and 10 years ago just sits back and pushes buttons. There's not a whole lot of hand-to-hand or
ground combat. There's a ton of ground combat. Well, there was. I wouldn't say so much as now. And I'm out of the loop a little bit. But yeah, no.
So what year was this again? I'm sorry.
2010.
Okay.
Specific incident. My very first shot fired on patrol, I initiated. Yeah, no, shit happens. Hold on, I dropped my sandal. So what happened was we were patrolling, and they were kind of finicky about letting us shoot people with ICOM, which is a little radio. ICOM is just a brand, but it's a little radio that they use to communicate.
Okay.
And I saw a guy in a tractor, and I saw him with his ICOM, and I shot him. Yeah. And it's my responsibility to paint the picture to hire and let them know. And I said, motherfucker's got ICOM. And they're like, well, did you see anything else? I said, nope. And I think that as serious and affirmative I was in my voice, that they were like, okay. They ran it up higher. Nobody really complained, you know. And from that day on, it was a little different. We were able to a little more leadway.
Okay.
And my guys had a lot more confidence in, the ability to pull the trigger.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we got a lot of gunfights. More than hundreds of gunfights.
Hundreds
of gunfights, and they felt confident. And they were awesome. I mean, they slanged lead like you wouldn't believe it. I hope we don't get rained on here.
No, I'd have to run fast.
Yeah.
I think that would be all right. All right. So
I think we're good though.
If it does, you grab that one.
Okay.
And I'll grab this one.
I think we'll be able to move pretty quick though.
Yeah, we'll be all right.
Man, I don't think this is going to take as long
like
as we thought anyway. So.
Yeah, we're doing all right.
Yeah, we're cruising through it.
So you're over there. You're hundreds of gunfights. You're doing all this. We're still not up to the Silver Star. Yeah, you're proving yourself. You're proving yourself a leader.
Well, that was already proven. That was one of the things that the guys didn't like was that a true leader. You understand that you have a mission. The mission is to bring the guys home safe.
Yep.
That's it. Bottom line, and whatever that takes. And if there's people that are not proficient and they don't want to hear they're not proficient, you just tell them. That's your job as a leader. Is that unpopular decision, unpopular constructive criticism, right? And grown men don't like to hear that.
No, and
I talk to them all still, now, so it's not a problem. But at the time, I had more experience. It is what it is. The guys had more experience. And in any situation, corporate America, small business, the military, people's feelings are guide them to make decisions that aren't always right.
Right, and everybody makes decisions, or not everybody.
Emotional-based decisions.
Yeah, and
ridiculous.
Which shouldn't be flying. So, well, I'll get to that in a little bit. There's something I want to bring up specifically that I thought of, but let's jump ahead to your.
Okay, so actually,
what you wrote up for here.
We're right there. We're in gunfights left and right. We're pulling IEDs out of the ground left and right. They're telling us not to get EOD. I'm like, fuck that. I'm not waiting hours. We got the best engineer that I've ever worked with in my life. He's a young, motivated kid, so we're doing it.
Why would they want you to wait?
Because just the intricacy of some of the IEDs and the risk factor that EOD brings another level to the table, or just to bypass. Now we know it's there. They're gonna pull it out, put it somewhere else.
Okay.
And I'm not going to do that. So that was a big argument every time on the radio. It was quite interesting. And we were there, and we were ruthless. Combat is not something where you need to have compassion.
I don't.
You got to turn that off.
Once you're in, once you make that commitment,
you got to turn that off.
I'm like,
it's cost me 2 marriages. I'm telling you right now, you got to turn it off. Like it's, and I'm not ashamed of it, and I don't feel bad about it. It was a job that I chose, and it's a normal reaction to an abnormal situation. It's not normal to run at bullets. It's not normal to shoot people.
No, and again, we alluded to that earlier, where I was thinking on the plane ride here. I flew in from Arizona this morning, and I had a little time to think. It's in the animal kingdom. Once a bear or a lion gets a taste of blood, or goes out on a hunt,
don't turn it off.
They don't turn it off ever. And we're asking the human to
go kill people, and then say, okay, I don't want to kill people anymore.
Yeah, and then come out and say, okay, turn it off now, and don't have those feelings anymore.
Well, it's aggression and the things you have to do to your body and mind to be able to. I mean, people. I hate when people ask stupid, ignorant questions, but I answer them because I realize that maybe they just don't know and they're curious. And I'm a curious son of a bitch, so I'd like to give that information.
I had a guy that played semi-pro football, and he couldn't play anymore. And I said, "What do you miss? Do you miss it?" And he goes, "Yeah." And I go, "What do you miss?" And he goes, "Honestly?" I go, "Yeah." He goes,
"Cracking guys.
The violence."
Yeah.
I miss the violence.
Oh, it's addictive. I mean, I would be lying if I didn't. Actually, some guy was talking trash on Instagram earlier today, and I told him, I said, "I wish you'd say it to my face. I'll buy your first-class plane ticket." And we started talking, and he's like, it was a joke. And I said, but I just love the conflict.
Yeah.
And he's like, really? And I said, weird trait, don't know. And as a kid, I'd stay away from it. It wasn't my thing. But I mean, it's something that you do for over half a decade. It becomes a part of you.
Yeah, and I know people, and I'm thinking of some specifically that they sit down with family and they start a little. They kind of giggle. They start a little argument, and they take
Kelly Fromm. Nah, Kelly's a good dude.
He's not the guy I was thinking of, but okay.
But no, I mean, and it's not in that aspect. I mean, I go out, I drink, I have a good time with my buddies, and anytime there's always the opportunity for an altercation, right? I usually try and stay away from those because an altercation for an average civilian in a bar is, I'm going to push you and you're going to push me and we're going to hug and roll around on the floor.
Right. No.
I'm going to take my whiskey glass and smash across your face. Yeah. And so I just stay away from those situations.
You're in the win.
Yeah.
There's no not starting.
Yeah, it's just changed me forever. So, but to get back on track, we were well, not on track. That absolutely needed to be said because we became very aggressive, and people used to tell us they're more scared of the Taliban than us. Well, after about 30 days, 45 days of me being there, they were not scared of the Taliban anymore. They were scared of us, and I don't believe in handing out money to get people to do it because then they're loyal to the money. There's one thing that'll drive this entire world more than money: fear.
Yeah, and I was reading your article on the way in where they interviewed you and asked you about your feelings when you were in
fear.
And
number
today.
One thing. Yep, number one thing: fear. It's proven in thousands of years, plenty of textbooks and doctrine. You look at these, you profile people, it's fear. So we decided we were gonna make them fear us more than them. We let them know. We'd set things up. Hey. It's you're not happening. You guys aren't gonna. If you guys want to do this, that's great. But I'm telling you right now.
And that's funny because I was going to ask you about that, and in that article specifically where you talked about 2,000 years of war, how do you change their their mentality. And I always went back and I read a little bit up on World War II and
I love World War II.
and the Japanese, and I'm like, well, everybody. Yeah, we won that war, but we're still in a battle with them, or we won that battle, I guess is really the way to put it.
Exactly.
And they're in a 1,000-year war with us, whether it's economical or trade or anything else.
Every aspect that you can imagine, it's a battle.
They're looking at every angle. I worked in the communications field, and I went with some guys that like to. They had a firewall that went on your computer system, and they would tell story after story of Chinese businessmen knowing your prices before you went in to sit down and have a meeting with them.
How radical is that?
They knew absolutely everything, and you might as well not even gone, just set your bottom line price, because that's all they were going to pay it, because they already knew it before you walked in.
They already knew it, because that's the problem with the electronic warfare. It's things that people don't understand. It's every other way.
So, it's not just guns and bullets and all that great stuff.
By no means is it just guns and bullets.
All right. We'll keep sidetracking, but that's what a podcast is all about. So, all right, you're feared. You're there.
We're feared. Definitely, we're feared. And it's good. You feel more confidence that these fuckers aren't going to go do something stupid and just pop off. And so we were out on a basics combat patrol. Get a call from a buddy of mine. I was very good about cross-coordinating with other units. I love to work with them, love to see them, because you don't get to see them all the time, but you trained with these guys for a year prior. You want to see them, see how they're doing. So we'd link up, middle of the field and compounds, hey, high five, just talk for 15, 20 minutes, Let the guys drink some water and interact with each other,
Okay.
It's a good thing. And in combat, you're like, why the fuck would you do that? It's because, guess what? That may be his friend over there, and he wants to see how he's doing. He may be a junior Marine that's not going to come to me and be like, damn, dude, that shit was gnarly. I was tripping. But he may say that to the other private from that squad. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So it's a good thing. So Decker, I was hitting up Decker. Decker's like, hey, man, we're about to drop a hellfire on this Taliban cell leader. If he bugs out on the other side of the river, can you cut him off for me? I was like, absolutely. So we start heading up to the Helmand River, and they dropped the hellfire, and they're like, yep, he's bugging out on that side. I think we got him injured, blah, blah, blah. So I take a small element of the Afghan army and Marines across, right? And a shallow part of it, because it gets deep in certain parts. So a shallow part of it, there's this little finger that came across on the other side of the pebble rock finger, it came out. And as soon as we got over there, the 8 of us, it just opened up. Multiple machine gun positions started popping at us. And I knew that we need to get back across the river, but I had to lead the fight. And so I ran across the river, not on the finger. It was like chest deep. Well, it shut my fucking radios off. I wasn't thinking.
Okay.
So, I'm communicating everything through these 2 radios. I had 3 radios I had. And so I've got a weapon above my head. I'm watching, the rounds hit the fucking water next to me. I'm like, oh, God, what am I doing? and so I get across, and my engineer and everybody's on the other side. And I ran up, I told his machine gunner, I said, just get in position, start laying some fire down so these guys can get across. And I saw these 2 guys in a little I don't want to call it. It's a tree line with a ditch in it. I don't want to call it a trench so people don't get the wrong idea, but they used them as trenches.
Okay.
So I was, starting engaging the enemy and moving up towards them. And they're like, no, don't go with that engine. I'm like, fuck this. We got to stop these guys. They're going to eat our boys up. So I get over there, and I get set in. I start letting the Marines fall in behind me. And I saw these shitheads in a door shooting at us with a PKM. So I had one of the Marines hand me a law rocket, and I smoked them from across this field. It's pretty cool. And started moving forward on them.
Right.
And when I started moving forward, I realized, holy shit, this hole, my left flank, is all these buildings they opened up on us. So this turned into a almost 8-hour firefight.
8 hours nonstop.
Nonstop. We were in a gunfight the whole way. We chased down every enemy that was on the battlefield. If it wasn't with small arms, I used 60 millimeter mortars, 80 millimeter mortars, 81 millimeter mortars, 120s, shot to Hellfire.
And a Hellfire for folks is something that doesn't it spread out into multiple.
No, not the Hellfire. The Hellfire is a single missile unit.
Single missile, but I thought it broke into multiple pieces. No.
It frags really good.
Okay.
It's great for using against bunkers and buildings and whatnot.
Okay.
Shot a Griffin rocket out of a C-130. 7 sections of rotary wing, mixed sections. So that's UX-1, which is the new Huey with a Gal-17 and then the 2.75 millimeter
anything
rockets.
you can find.
And then Cobras. And then we got A-10s in there. It's calling A-10s in. I think it was around about 100 plus insurgents we killed that day. We put a big dent in them. I was actually consolidating my squad in a building Well, first off, we'll back up here. So we're moving into this building. My company commander's on the radio telling me he's going to drop a Hellfire. Miscommunication on the grid. He dropped it on the building I was going in, which is the right building, but I didn't know. He told me a different building. But there were shitheads in there. So he drops a Hellfire and is like, we're right outside of it. It's pretty intense. We go in. A fucking dog bit me in the leg. I shot this son of a bitch 5 times. My buddy shot him a few times. He was latched onto my goddamn leg. And so we get the dog off my leg. We're doing accountability, and we're missing, I think it's 5 guys.
Out of 8?
5 guys out of 21.
Oh, okay.
And I'm like, holy fuck, you know. So the whole squad has been moving. This is over hours and hours. And so one of the guys, like, they're pinned down over there. So I went running to the fire team that was actually my Marines. They were pinned down, got there. There were 3 of them, and they were like, hey, look, there's 2 scout snipers pinned down over there. And we need to get them. I'm like, I got this. I said, look, when I start running, they're going to shoot at me. You guys get up, set a base of fire. You know what I mean? Get out of cover, set a base of fire, overwhelm them. I'll pop smoke. We'll all run back. Well, halfway there, I got shot in the leg. It wasn't bad. It was just grazing fire.
Okay.
Kind of took a little fall. And I popped smoke next to me and smoked myself out. So I crawled forward up on the berm a little more so I could see the enemy. And I was shooting at him, and the snipers went past me. And then we all ended up consolidating. Realized we were really low on ammunition. So we called for a resupply. And this is the best part about the Marine Corps. Me and this guy butted fucking heads, this other squad leader. We even got in a physical altercation. He had a Navy Cross. Real deal. Good warfighter.
Yep.
Older. Totally different methods of leadership. Totally different thoughts on everything. War, everything.
Right.
But that motherfucker hauled ass out of nowhere, carrying more ammo than, double what we had, and we carried a shit ton. We used to have these things called shit bags that we just stuffed with everything was fun. You know what I mean?
Right.
And they hauled ass out there to resupply us way further than they're supposed to. You know, and it was awesome. It just like, damn, dude, I fucking love you. You know, that's what it's about. And we were walking off the battlefield, and I'll never forget. I was looking, things are on fire, people dead, fucking cars, little moped shit they ride around on. And I was just like, man, this is war. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I didn't feel bad one bit at all. And so we actually were so low on ammo. Before we started walking back, I told them the enemy kind of started slowing down. We killed a shit ton. There weren't many of them left. Started slowing down the gunfire, and I said, look, guys, we're going to give them hell to the time we get back. I said, we're going to open this shit back up with a rocket. And the guys were like, let's do it. You know, so I had one get out to AT-4, launch a rocket to where we knew some were, and then we started moving back to get to the resupply. And it was just a gunfight the whole way. It was a running gunfight. Whew. So we get back in, and I'm pretty sure it's the largest one that either, I mean, I know it's the largest on battalion, but I think it was even larger than that. I think, if I look back, it was one of the probably larger the Marine Corps has been in.
Wow.
And so we get back, and they want to debrief me up at the company headquarters. I'm fucking exhausted. You know what I mean? And so I go over there. First time it was a friend of mine. I'm like, hey, I think I got shot in the leg. He's like, really? Let me see. And it's just like a little cut on my leg. He's like, oh, you did? He's next to me. He's like, oh, he's like, compa, you did. And I was like, don't fucking tell anybody, man. And it was an inappropriate relationship. Like, we were friends, and we shouldn't. I mean, you can be friends, but we fraternized. It was what it is. That's what fucking warfighters do. And I was like, don't you tell anybody. Don't you tell anybody. He's like, I won't. And motherfucker told somebody in the meeting later that night. I got my ass chewed. Man, my platoon commander looked like an idiot. You know, I would have loved to tell him first, you know. Sure. But, you know, first time Melendez blue falconed me, I mean. I hope he didn't blue ball me. Blue falconed me. And you know, I get in the MRAP to go back. My platoon sergeant looks at me. He's like, you did good shit today. And I was like, I appreciate it, man. He goes, you know, whatever happens from here on, just take it with a grain of salt. He knows I'm not the guy that wanted awards and whatnot. I didn't care. I just wanted to kill bad guys. That's my job, you know. And so he told me they were in there talking about it, and I was like, I don't want to hear this bullshit. So let's go back. So I left. I did the vehicle section, went back with him. I didn't want to wait for the platoon commander. So he gets back, he chews my ass in his little mud hut. That's what we all lived in, this little fucking shit compound. And I was like, look, dude, it's nothing big. I already got a Purple Heart, I don't need another one. Shit's embarrassing. You know, it's an enemy marksmanship badge. And he's like, nah, I get it, man, I get it. And so then Bing West came out. He used to be our assistant secretary of defense. And he was like, I want to hang out with the sergeant that got shot. I'm like, oh, fuck, now everybody knows, you know. I'm like, Jesus Christ. So he's 71 at the time.
Okay.
Running around. He's a very famous Marine from Vietnam, was our assistant secretary of defense, just best New York Times bestselling author. Great dude. So he runs around with us for about 2 weeks in gunfights, filming the whole thing. You hear him winded, getting it. And I never forget what made me so proud to be a warrior. One of the most influential moments in my life, and it's kind of just funny. I looked at him, I said, "You want a gun?" He goes, "Mac, if I need a gun, there'll be plenty laying around." I said, "This motherfucker."
That's from the movie.
He took his Kevlar off.
Yeah.
And put a Boston Red Sox hat on, and then took the plates out of his vest and told me that they were too heavy. He was old and he didn't need them. And this son of a bitch went with me for 2 weeks, running and gunning, man. In and out, did every debrief, did every pre-brief. Like, just, he was a stud. I mean, he wasn't a stud, but he just manned up being a warrior, you know, and got it done.
This is, if I'm going out, I'm going out on mine.
Yeah, he's going on his terms, right? I hope one day I'm blessed to go to a combat zone like he did and run with some young war fighters. And God, I just couldn't imagine the opportunity to do that, you know. So we get back. I wanted out of the unit ASAP. I already knew we'd taken the most casualties since God knows when. Like, I knew what was coming. All the drama, the doctors, all that crap. And I didn't need it. I didn't care about it. Whatever, right? So I'm sitting there. I'm like begging to go to schools, go ahead and go anywhere, and say send me a sergeant's course. And somehow I became the class first sergeant. I don't know, because I was junior to most of the people in there, but I was very rough on them. Let's just say I just came back. That poor sergeant major and that poor officer's director, I think I gave them all the gray hair they have.
Oh, my gosh.
I think, matter of fact, I walked up. Is this censored at all? Can I say anything?
You can say whatever you want. I can always take it out later if I have to.
So I walk up to formation one morning, and we're doing some morning PT, and I was like, look, you guys are acting like a bunch of 4 fucking push-ups, you goddamn Marines. And I didn't realize that I did realize half our class were women, you know, but, like, in my mind, I've never been in a unit with females, you know.
Right.
Oh, man, that freaking sergeant major, he didn't even yell at me. He was just like, God damn it. He's like, this guy is just so institutionalized to one type of unit.
Right.
I can't even be mad at him. So they're wanting to, like, fry me up, hang me from the edge of this building right here, man. The women in there are like these disgusting, sexist piece of shit, you know, and I'm like, what did I do wrong? I don't even understand at this point what I did wrong, you know what I mean? And this sergeant major gets it. He's just like, just don't talk. Well, he's like,
try not to
and
talk.
I'm the class first sergeant, so I lead
him.
the entire 126 students of the course. I'm in charge of them, you know, and he's just like, fuck. He's like, just don't say that word anymore. And I was like, I can do that. Yeah, I can cut that out.
I'll see if I can bleep that one.
Yeah,
when I put this.
Yeah, definitely. You know, or just put me smiling. You know, but no. So then I wanted to go to SOI, be an instructor. You know, there at the schoolhouse, and they told me it wasn't a B billet, and I'd already done 2 infantry battalions, so they said I needed to go do a B billet, which is like a special duty assignment.
Okay.
And I was like, I don't really want to do that. And they're like, well, we'll get you waived because your tattoos to be a drill instructor. And I think we might get some rain, actually.
Yeah, I'm watching it.
I'm cruising through, though.
We got a little breeze. You're good.
I'm cruising through. So I was like, damn it. I don't really want, whatever, I did it. And I did really well. And I just didn't take no shit, you know. And there's a DI school student I didn't get along and caused a lot of drama and ended my time down there. And I was blessed enough to get a retirement because of the physical issues I had. And
okay.
And I got out, and I didn't want to get out at first, but now it's the best thing that ever happened, man.
Okay.
Guys like me and my friends and the guys I associate with join for one reason: go to war. You
Yeah.
know? And when the politics start getting involved at the end of the war, that's when we got a jet.
I can see
now,
that.
we don't want a jet, but looking back now, become more mature. I'm like, oh my God, the bullets I dodged.
Yeah, no
being in the
kidding.
Marine Corps still.
Absolutely, no kidding
know?
on that. So, here's something I wanted to bring up, and I mentioned it earlier. So when I talked to the Pearl Harbor survivor, he brought up that he was absolutely certain that Roosevelt knew Japan was going to attack. He knew.
Really?
He was briefed every day on exact location of the Japanese fleet, and he says, I know for a fact. So I believe he let that Pearl Harbor attack happen. Now here's what's going to blow you away.
What's that?
He says, in retrospect, it was the right call.
Never. I mean, I don't know if that's true. You know, I'm not there, but you never sacrifice life.
He
You want to go to war, just grab your big boy pants and go to war.
Well, yeah, but he was saying that that was the only way that Roosevelt foresaw the U.S. getting into war with Germany was letting Japan attack them and provoke.
I mean, I wouldn't deny that one bit. Our government is absolutely ridiculous. Now, I'm a big Trump supporter, but I'm not going to say that our government still operates in the most upright manner. Some things you don't need to. Like, some things just have to be shady. It's life, you know. But but the amount of casualties that were caused there, that's a tough one, you know. That's something that, you know. Hey, and he lived with that. I respect that, but at the same time, like, if you really think that our country needs to be there, go drop a goddamn bomb.
Well, and you know,
you are the president, you know.
Yeah, and what it did with him is you go back and watch that podcast when you get a chance. But
I will absolutely.
He was out for revenge every flight. He was out scouting and out doing location and.
Oh yeah, you better believe every pre-brief. I definitely labeled at least one Marine that we lost or was injured. And I was like, let's go kill motherfuckers for this guy.
Let's go
you
get somebody.
I mean? Yeah, and they understood it. That motivated the shit out of them.
We're not out walking through the park.
Yeah, we're not out here looking to shake hands and hand out money. We're out here to go find bad guys and end them. That is our job as United States Marines. Don't forget it.
That's interesting. So there was a lot of money going out for information.
Not even information. Just to appeal to them. It's the most bullshit. Our government is so stupid. Obama was the worst thing that ever happened to the military.
Wow.
Ever. I mean, let me tell you, if I come to your neck of the woods and I offer you $100,000 to build a freaking damn fence that should cost $5,000 at most, yeah, you're going to be nice to me.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean you're not going to be nice to the bad guys. They're telling you they're going to kill and rape you.
Yeah. Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And again, the mentality, people, U.S. people, when you start traveling abroad and everything else, you start seeing mentality of different folks that have been attacked that are like, hey, rich spoiled Americans, take it easy. Yeah, I had some people from Turkey in one of my college courses, and it was a young couple that had just endured everything in the world to get over here.
Yeah, no, I know lots of people like that, and they're appreciative, and they're the ones that are like, hey, yeah, go bomb the shit out of them, you know?
Yeah.
I want to ask you some questions. How about that?
All right, shoot.
So you interview veterans, right?
Just started up. I got a few under my belt.
Yeah. How would you feel if you interviewed somebody that lied about their service?
You know, that's funny. Did Kelly send you a message there?
Well, I was talking to Kelly about this, so I'm curious to see what your input is.
I would, well, if I didn't know it while I was doing it, well, anybody would lie to me. But service, I would take that personally.
Well, your father, I mean,
yeah,
you watched his struggles in the last part of his life. I don't mean to bring up hard times, but
no. I know where you're going, and I would take it very personally, and probably. Boy, I try not to get vindictive, but but if somebody was taking credit for some things they didn't do,
yep,
and was taking, I don't know, for lack of a better term, some glory from some guys that really deserved it, and who knows if they got a bad wire where they think they're just getting attention, but they don't understand that they're putting a fraud upon the whole reason you guys were over there.
Yeah, no.
I mean, somebody'd like to say, you know, well, that's the reason we're fighting, so these guys can. No. There's
no way.
There's a line you can't cross.
Yeah. We didn't fight for you to go act like us.
No.
No, you didn't fight for you to go kneel on a field or burn a flag. Like, if you think that's why I fought for you, you just come say it to my face.
So, you know, it's like somebody impersonating a police officer or a law enforcement. You know, that's a federal crime.
Yeah, but why isn't it? I have no clue. You know, hopefully Trump will get some other things out of the way that I do think are more important. I'm not going to put that at the top of the list, but it's something that needs to be addressed in this country big time. And I just wanted to pick your brain.
You'll see people dressed up, and I've been around long enough to where I can look and go, that doesn't look quite right. Yeah. But guys are getting pretty good at camouflaging themselves too. So
they are for sure. Well, let's keep pushing forward.
All right, yeah.
I just checked, and we definitely have rain coming.
We got rain. All right, you checked it. All right, so all right, let's talk about Sgt Mac's Gun Shack. How did that? Yeah. All right, you're out. You got your silver star. Everybody.
I'm just kind of quiet guy, you know, and love guns. And my wife told me, like, hey, you should open a gun store. And I was like, that seems like a horrible business. So I started looking into it and saw that there was some decent chances to become successful in that industry. It's a very veteran-dominant industry.
Correct.
And so I said, okay, well, I am a vet, and I'm a very confident, cocky vet at that. But I feel like I have the right to be. And so bringing that to the firearm industry and the skill set and the mindset I have and the leadership that I learned, I think I could do it. So I opened up with a partner. Week one, we had a ginormous issue with integrity, and we separated. And the best thing I could have done, and it caused a lot of stress and mental and financial and everything. Obviously, when you have a partner, you just two people doing it, not just one. And the workload, and so it was a hobby at first. You know, I'm retired. I have some other stuff going on. I didn't need the income. It blew up. Where I was needed a gun store, and then just my personality and getting out there in front of people.
And that store's in Galveston, right?
In Galveston, yep.
Okay.
And hopefully we'll be opening some more here in the next 24 months.
Where are you going to open them?
Here across Texas. We're going to stay in Texas for now.
Okay, great.
There's a lot of opportunities, though. I mean, my end game is not to be at Sgt Mac's every day. You know, I want to give a veteran that's a hard charger the opportunity to run that business.
There we go.
I want to go on and do some other things. I want to be more influential in the firearm industry.
So
that's my goal.
You're an entrepreneur at heart.
Absolutely.
Yeah, good for you. No, that's the way it should be. Well, we've covered your service. We kind of glossed at the end there, but I know you're just going to go, well, they gave it to me and I didn't really care.
Yeah, I'll tell you about it. So the day they gave it to me was quite hilarious. So, you know, I got word I was getting a Silver Star. I was like, okay. Then it's like, well,
did you know what the Silver Star was when they said that?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I was a Marine. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. So they're telling me, and I'm like, wow, this is kind of crazy. And you almost get antsy because everybody's looking at you funny. Like, when are you going to get it? When are you going to get it? Everybody's asking. It's all they fucking talk about. And you're just so ready for it to be over with. So I'm talking to CENTCOM, this and that, and confirming this and that. And it's just a headache. And one day I'm on the PT field as a drill instructor, and I get called to the base general or base sergeant major's office. I'm like, fuck. So, and I was an aggressive drill instructor, so I did not think in my mind at that time had anything to do with the Silver Star. I'm just being real here. I thought it was something I did that broke a rule. You know,
yeah, here we go again.
Yep. That was a common thing. Rules are meant to be broken. So I run my ass over there, and I report in. I'm PT gear. My best friend's sitting there. He's my freaking first sergeant. The first sergeant for another company that was my first sergeant that told on me that I got shot. My old sergeant major at NJP'd me in 3-7 I thought hated me. All these people that charged me that I knew and everything are in this office, and they're like, hey, you know, relax. I'm okay. Like, hey, you know what's going on here? I'm like, nope. Am I about to get buried under the building, you know? I'm like, no, you know what this is right here? And he had the citation and then the Silver Star. I was like, Silver Star? He goes, yep. He goes, how do you want to do this? And I said, well, I'll take it right now. And he went off of my ass, told me I was a selfish motherfucker. And I love the dude. That what it ain't about, you know, blah, blah, blah. I'm thinking, shit, you know. And so the base general comes in. He's like, no, we're going to have a big ceremony. There's 4,000 or 5,000 people, I think, there.
Wow.
But the best part is I'm standing there. And we're going to end off this because this rain's coming.
Yeah,
but
I'm
standing there at the front of the General's building at MCRD San Diego, looking over the parade deck. There's thousands of people between me and the parade deck. Every Marine that, since the place is open, has crossed that parade deck. Holy ground, you know. And I'm standing there in the shadow of one of these arches. And I'm sitting there. I'm a little nervous, you know. It's kind of interesting. And I really respected the General giving it to me. I think God, Obama's dumbass or somebody like that didn't give it to me. And so I'm standing there, I'm waiting, and, you know, they give me my cue. I start marching out, and I was just like, man, I feel real nauseous right now. I don't get nervous for shit. And I'm like, oh, I'm feeling nauseous. So I get next to him, and I don't really have, like, vivid flashbacks or anything, but I'm standing from him. Dude, I was in another zone. You can see me in the video. I'm, like, locked like a board, and I'm actually swaying.
Wow.
And he's, you know, they're reading the citation. I'm in front of him and everything. And they're getting ready to give it to me. He leans in. He's like, Mac, are you okay? And I just snapped out of it. And I was just kind of reliving everything I'd been through in my life up to this moment, you know.
So you're flashing back a little bit.
No, it's kind of like a bam, you know, like right there. It was really crazy. And I just need to get the fuck off that. That thing away from people. I was stressing.
That wasn't your thing.
No, not my thing at all. So he gives it to me. You know, he talked to me for a minute up there. And people are looking. I'm like, okay. So I march off, and afterwards, you know, there's like 8 news crews there, and they're coming up to me.
Right.
And I look over my shoulder, and as I'm walking up, and I see a bunch of my boys, and I'm just like, man, some are in wheelchairs, some are in crutches, missing legs, and I'm like, this shit is real, you know. This is what I lived my whole life for, you know what I mean? And I walked up to him and said, hey, you know, they're camera live talking to me. I said, I have to use the restroom. Is there any way that you guys can talk to those heroes right there? And I pointed at them, and the camera's looking. They, obviously, a bunch of physically disabled guys. So they're like, yeah, we'll talk to them till you get back. I went across the street and got drunk, never came back.
Whoa.
Yeah. I went to Old Town and started drinking margaritas, and I was like, fuck that. You know?
Wow.
They all met up with me like, you son of a bitch, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was a very unique experience. Puts a target on your back.
Yeah.
In the Marine Corps, I enjoyed it. I love the challenge. I love the competition. I love the drive, having someone push me.
Yeah.
And when everybody's against you, there's a lot of people pushing you. So,
Yes.
But yeah, man, I'm living here in the Houston area. I down in Galveston here in Houston, and I'm all over the place. You know, got a lot going on, but it drives me. You know.
So, you know, like you said, it's going to rain here in a second, so we'll wrap this up. So here's what I'll say to you is, you know, I've talked to a couple of these old timers now. And a question I asked them, and I already kind of know the answer. So I go, all right, I could see them close their eyes often when they were telling me a story about something. And I said, are you seeing that? Are you feeling that? And I'm kind of telling you, this isn't really a question to you, is I'm telling you, these guys at 90 years old were telling me they see it every day, but They found a way to live with it. They found a way because of what they're doing was righteous, and they found a way to live with it, for lack of a better term, and be happy. So what I'm telling you, my friend, is I saw you getting a little emotional there at the end. Is I'm telling you, you did good.
I know I did good. It's and you bring up a funny thing about seeing it, right? It's like a transparency on a projector, right?
Right.
Imagine if you took that transparency up and held it up against the sun and then looked around, like, you know, had the sun behind and looked around this skyline.
Okay.
You're going to see the skyline, but you're also going to see what's on that transparency.
Okay.
That happens often.
Gotcha.
You know, it is a reliving. It is a visual cue, and it is emotional. You know, it's a crazy part of my life, right? But yeah, I could definitely relate to what you just said, 100%.
Well, good.
And we could always carry some more on tonight, drink some beers down in the condo as well.
Uh-oh.
Maybe
All
cut
right.
that in here as well.
We'll see what happens.
This rain is coming.
Yeah, it's coming. So we'll wrap this part up. I'll shake your hand for now on camera.
Cool. I'm
Thanks,
so
brother.
excited, brother.
Can't wait to sit down with Kelly, too, and get some of his.
He's nuts, man. You're gonna
I know.
enjoy
I got to filter him.
Hey, if you think I'm bad with my curse words, you don't even have a clue.
I told him I was going to sit down a little whiskey.
Just wait. Oh, don't give him any alcohol. If you wait, no.
Once I get him going, he
won't stop.
Yeah. All right, my brother. We're going to wrap it up. Shut it down. You're good, man.